Tai-1 Kim was not a man who liked surprises. As a scientist who studied alien languages, he preferred when things made sense. His small apartment in Seoul was neat and quiet, just the way he liked it. Well, mostly quiet, except for Miso, his orange tabby cat. On this particular morning, Tai-1 sat at his desk, playing back recordings of the Vexeri royal language. The sounds were strange: high whistles, deep rumbles, and clicks that no human throat could make. The Vexeri were tall, elegant aliens who now ruled much of the galaxy. They had allowed humans to join their alliance 50 years ago, but they still treated Earth like a child at the adults' table. Humans simply cannot speak properly, a Vexeri diplomat had told Tai-1 once. Your voices are too limited. Tai-1 rubbed his tired eyes. For 3 years, he had studied the royal language, the special way that Vexeri leaders spoke to each other. No human had ever learned to speak it. The best they could do was understand some of it, and even that took years of study. As the recording played, Tai-1 felt something warm against his leg. Miso had come to sit by his chair. The cat's ears were perked up, her yellow eyes fixed on the speaker. You like that, Miso? Tai-1 smiled. Strange noises, aren't they? Then something odd happened. Miso opened her mouth and made a sound. Not a meow or a purr, but a perfect copy of the Vexeri greeting he had just played. Tai-1 froze. He played the recording again. Again, Miso repeated the sound exactly. That's not possible, he whispered. He grabbed his phone and sent a message to his colleague. Ji-soo Park, come to my apartment now. Bring recording equipment. You won't believe this. 30 minutes later, Ji-soo knocked on his door. She was shorter than Tai-1, with short black hair and quick, curious eyes. This better be good, she said. I was in the middle of writing a report for the Human Space Agency. It's better than good, Tai-1 said. Watch. He played the Vexeri recording again. Miso, who had been cleaning herself on the couch, stopped and listened. Then she made the sound, a perfect, complex whistle that rose and fell in a pattern no human could copy. Ji-soo's mouth fell open. Play another one. Tai-1 played different parts of the recording. Each time, Miso listened and then repeated the sounds exactly. Some were deep, some were high, some clicked and popped in ways that seemed impossible. How is she doing that? Ji-soo asked, setting up her recording equipment. I don't know, Tai-1 said. I've had Miso for 3 years. She's just a regular cat from a shelter. At least I thought she was. For the next 2 hours, they tested Miso with different Vexeri sounds. They recorded everything. The cat seemed to enjoy the attention, purring between performances. Cats have different vocal structures than humans, Ji-soo said, looking at a diagram on her tablet. Their voice boxes are more flexible in some ways. But this still shouldn't be possible. What does it mean? Tai-1 asked. Ji-soo looked at him with wide eyes. It means we might have just found the first non-Vexeri being who can speak the royal language. Tai-1 stared at Miso, who had now curled up for a nap, looking completely ordinary. You don't understand what this means for humans in the Alliance, you, he said to the sleeping cat. The Vexeri think we're second-class citizens because we can't speak their special language, Ji-soo said. But if Earth cats can do it, everything could change, Tai-1 finished. Outside, the lights of Seoul glowed in the evening. Somewhere above those lights, Vexeri ships moved in orbit around Earth. The aliens had no idea that in a small apartment below, a simple house cat had just shattered one of their most basic assumptions about humans and their place in the galaxy. Miso yawned, showing sharp teeth, completely unaware that she might just have changed the future of 2 species. 1 week after discovering Miso's strange talent, Tai-1 sat in his office at the Seoul Research Center, staring at an invitation on his desk. The paper was thick and had gold writing on it. It invited him to the big meeting between humans and Vexeri that would happen in 3 days. Are you going to go? Ji-soo asked. She leaned against his doorway with a cup of coffee in her hand. Taiwan sighed. I don't know. These meetings are always the same. The Vexari talk down to us. We smile and thank them for letting us be part of their alliance. But this time could be different. Jisoo walked in and sat down. We have Miso. They had spent the last week testing the cat's abilities. Miso could not only copy Vexari sounds but seemed to understand what they meant. When Taiwan played a recording that meant come here, Miso would walk to him. When he played food, she would go to her bowl. I can't just show up with a cat and say, look what my pet can do, Taiwan said. Why not? Jisoo asked. The meeting is here in Seoul for the first time. The Vexari are coming to our planet. Maybe it's time to show them something that will surprise them. Taiwan picked up the invitation again. It's too risky. What if they get angry? What if they think we're making fun of them? Or what if they finally see that Earth has something special? Jisoo countered. Look, you don't have to make a big show. Just bring Miso in a carrier. If the time feels right, we'll show them. If not, no one will know. 3 days later, Taiwan walked up the steps of the Seoul Interstellar Embassy. The building was tall and made of glass that changed colors in the sunlight. Jisoo walked beside him. And in a small carrier, Miso meowed unhappily. Quiet, Taiwan whispered. You'll get us in trouble. Inside, the embassy was full of people from Earth and other planets. Humans in fancy clothes talked with aliens of different shapes and sizes, but everyone moved out of the way when the Vexari entered. The Vexari were tall, with skin that looked like silver and gold mixed together. They had long necks and 4 arms each. Their eyes were large and dark. They moved with perfect grace, like dancers. Leading them was High Chancellor Dorin. He was the most important Vexari on Earth right now. His skin had more gold in it than the others, and he wore a robe that seemed to float around him. Humans, Dorin said in perfect English, though his voice had a musical quality to it. We are pleased to visit your world again. The human officials bowed slightly. Taiwan and Jisoo stayed in the back of the room. Should we talk to him? Jisoo whispered. Not yet, Taiwan said. Let's wait. The meeting moved to a large dining hall. Humans and aliens sat at long tables with food from many planets. Taiwan and Jisoo found seats near the back. Miso's carrier sat under the table. As they ate, Do-rin stood up to make a speech. He spoke in English first, saying nice things about Earth and humans. But then he switched to the Royal Vexari language to speak to his own people. From under the table, Miso suddenly became alert. Her ears moved forward, listening to the sounds Do-rin made. One of the human translators nearby was trying to keep up, but she looked confused. The royal language was too complex. What's he saying? Taiwan asked the translator quietly. I'm not sure, she admitted. Something about humans being good hosts, but from the carrier came a perfect copy of Do-rin's voice, speaking the royal language. Then, in clear English, Miso said, These humans try hard, but they will never truly understand our ways. Their minds and bodies are too simple. The room went completely silent. Every Vexari turned to look at their table. Do-rin's 4 arms froze in mid-gesture. What, he said in English, was that? Taiwan swallowed hard and looked at Jisoo. This was not how they had planned to reveal Miso's abilities. Slowly, he reached down and opened the carrier door. Miso walked out, her tail high in the air. She looked directly at Do-rin and made another perfect Vexari sound. I believe, Jisoo said into the silence, that we have something to show you, High Chancellor. The silence in the dining hall was heavy. Every eye, human and alien, was fixed on Miso. The orange cat sat calmly washing her paw, unaware that she had just changed everything. High Chancellor Do-rin moved toward their table with slow, careful steps. His 4 arms were now held close to his body, a sign of caution among the Vexari. The other Vexari officials followed behind him, their silver-gold skin catching the light. Explain, Du-Rin said to Ta-Wan. His voice was quiet but firm. Tai-Wan stood up, his legs shaking slightly. High Chancellor, this is Miso. She's an Earth cat, a common pet. We recently discovered that she can understand and speak your royal language. Du-Rin's large eyes narrowed. Impossible. The royal language requires vocal structures that no Earth creature possesses. Miso looked up at Du-Rin and made another perfect series of clicks and whistles. The Vexeri officials behind Du-Rin gasped. She said, "Your assumption is incorrect." Jisoo translated, though everyone had understood the meaning. Du-Rin bent down until his face was level with Miso. He made a complex sound that rose and fell like music. Miso replied with the exact same sound, then added more tones. "What did she say?" asked the human official who had hurried over. One of the Vexeri translators, looking shocked, answered, "The High Chancellor asked how this is possible." The cat said, "I have always understood. Only now do I choose to speak." Tai-Wan looked at Jisoo with wide eyes. They had discovered that Miso could copy the sounds, but not that she actually understood them at this level. "May I?" Du-Rin asked, reaching toward Miso. Tai-Wan nodded, and the High Chancellor gently picked up the cat. He examined her throat, her mouth, her ears. Miso allowed this, purring softly. "Remarkable," Du-Rin said. "Her vocal apparatus is simple, yet she produces sounds our scientists believed only Vexeri could make." "We've been studying her abilities for only a week," Ta-Wan explained. "We didn't plan to reveal this today. It just happened." Du-Rin handed Miso back to Ta-Wan. "You are a language specialist, yes. I recognize you from research papers submitted to our science council." Ta-Wan nodded. "Yes, I study the Vexeri languages, all of them, but especially the royal dialect. And you have recordings of our speech in your home." This is how the cat learned. "Yes," Ta-Wan admitted. "I play them often during my studies." The human officials were now gathering around, looking both worried and excited. The head of Earth's diplomatic team stepped forward. "High Chancellor, we assure you there was no intent to." Du-Rin held up one hand, silencing her. "I am not offended. I am curious." He turned back to Ta-Wan. "Our scientists have long believed that humans could never truly join certain aspects of our society because of your physical limitations. This cat suggests otherwise." Jisoo spoke up. "We believe that cats' vocal structures have some similarities to Vexeri physiology. They can make sounds in ranges humans cannot." "Bring your cat and your research to my ship tomorrow," Du-Rin said. It was not a request. "We will conduct proper tests." As Du-Rin walked away, the dining hall erupted in excited talk. Human diplomats rushed to Ta-Wan and Jisoo, asking questions they couldn't answer. The Vexeri delegation huddled together, speaking rapidly in their language. Miso jumped back into her carrier and curled up as if nothing unusual had happened. Later that night, in Ta-Wan's apartment, he and Jisoo sat in stunned silence. Miso was asleep on the couch. "What just happened?" Ta-Wan finally asked. "Did my cat just speak directly to the highest-ranking Vexeri on Earth?" "Yes," Jisoo said, "and she seemed to understand everything. That's beyond what we observed in our tests." "Do you think they're angry?" Ta-Wan asked. Jisoo shook her head. "No. Did you see their faces? They weren't angry. They were shocked. Maybe even afraid." "Afraid? Of a house cat?" "Not of Miso herself," Jisoo explained, "but of what she represents. The Vexeri have always believed they were special because of their language. It's why they're in charge. Now an ordinary Earth animal can speak it perfectly." Tai-Wan looked at Miso sleeping peacefully. "Do you think she understands what's happening?" As if in answer, Miso opened one eye, looked directly at him, and made a short Vexeri sound. "What did she say?" Ta-Wan asked. Jisoo laughed. "I think it was something like, 'Be quiet, I'm sleeping.'" Tomorrow they would go to the Vexeri ship. Tomorrow they would find out what this all meant. But tonight, Ta-1 wondered if the balance of power between humans and Vexeri had already begun to shift, all because of one ordinary orange cat. The Vexeri ship hung above Seoul like a silver cloud. It was huge and beautiful, with parts that seemed to float without touching each other. Tai-1, Jisoo, and Miso went up to it in a small shuttle the next morning. "Are you nervous?" Jisoo asked as they rose through the air. "Yes," Ta-1 admitted. "No human has ever been invited to a Vexeri royal ship before." Miso sat in her carrier, looking out the window with calm interest. When they arrived, 3 Vexeri met them. They wore simple white clothes, different from the fancy robes at the dinner. They led the way through halls that seemed to be made of flowing metal. The walls changed color as they walked past. "The High Chancellor is waiting in the Science Center," one Vexeri said. They entered a large round room filled with strange machines. Du-Rin stood in the center, talking to a younger Vexeri. When he saw them, he stopped and made a greeting gesture with his 4 arms. "Welcome," he said. "This is Han-Bin, our expert on other species." Han-Bin bowed slightly. Unlike other Vexeri, his skin had more silver than gold. His eyes were lighter too, almost green instead of black. "I am very interested in your cat," Han-Bin said. His voice was friendlier than most Vexeri. "May I see her?" Tai-1 opened the carrier, and Miso walked out. She looked around the room, her tail moving slowly back and forth. "We would like to run some tests," Du-Rin said. "Nothing that will hurt her." For the next 2 hours, the Vexeri studied Miso. They took pictures of her throat using special machines. They recorded her making different sounds. They showed her pictures and asked her questions in their language. Miso answered everything perfectly. She even seemed to enjoy the attention. "Amazing," Han-Bin said, looking at the pictures of Miso's vocal cords. "Her throat has some small parts that are similar to ours. Very small, but in the right places." "What does this mean?" Ta-1 asked. "It means," Du-Rin said, "that we may have been wrong about Earth." Han-Bin showed them a screen with pictures of different animals from many planets. "We classify all species by what their bodies can do. Humans are class 3 because your voices can't make certain sounds, but your cats might be class 1, like us." "I don't understand why this matters so much," Jisoo said. "They're just sounds." Du-Rin and Han-Bin looked at each other. Du-Rin nodded, and Han-Bin turned to a table nearby. He picked up what looked like a small silver box with no openings. "This is Vexeri technology," Han-Bin explained. "It only works if you can speak the right sounds to it." He made a series of whistles and clicks. The box opened like a flower, revealing the glowing blue light inside. "Can I try?" Ta-1 asked. "Your voice cannot open it," Du-Rin said. "No human voice can." Miso walked over to the table and looked at the box. Then she made the exact sounds Han-Bin had made. The box changed color, from blue to green. Han-Bin gasped. She didn't just open it. She changed its settings. That should be impossible for a non-Vexeri." "What are you not telling us?" Jisoo asked, looking straight at Du-Rin. Du-Rin was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Our most advanced technology is controlled by our royal language. We never shared it with humans because you could not use it." "So there's technology you've been keeping from us?" Ta-1 asked, feeling a mix of anger and excitement. "Yes," Han-Bin admitted. "Many things. Medical devices that could help your people, travel technology, communication systems. But now," Du-Rin said, looking at Miso, "we may need to reconsider." As they talked, Han-Bin kept watching Miso with great interest. He seemed different from other Vexeri, more curious, less formal. "May I study Earth's history with cats?" Han-Bin asked Ta-1. "There might be important things to learn." "Of course," Ta-1 said. When they left the ship that day, Ta-1 felt that something big had changed. The Vexari were looking at humans differently now, all because of one ordinary cat. What happens next? Jisoo asked as they returned to Earth. I don't know, Ta-1 said. But I think Miso just opened more than a box up there. Miso purred in her carrier, her mission for the day complete. 3 days after their visit to the Vexari ship, Ta-1 received a special device from Hanbin. It looked like a small silver egg with tiny blue lights. With it came a note. This is a royal translator. It needs the right voice to work. Perhaps Miso can help. That evening, Ta-1 and Jisoo sat in his apartment with the egg-shaped device on the coffee table. Miso watched it with curious eyes. What do you think it does? Jisoo asked. Hanbin said it's a translator, but I think it's more than that, Ta-1 replied. Miso, can you make it work? Miso stepped forward and made a series of sounds at the device. The blue lights changed to green, and suddenly the egg opened. Inside was a small crystal that glowed with white light. It worked, Jisoo said. The crystal rose into the air and projected images around the room. They saw Vexari text floating in the air, with Earth languages below it. These are Vexari diplomatic files, Ta-1 said, reading the Korean text. Secret ones. They spent hours looking through the files. What they found made them both angry and sad. Look at this, Jisoo said, pointing to one file. It's called the Physiological Determinism Protocol. It says the Vexari group all species by their physical abilities. Ta-1 read further. Class 1 is Vexari and species with similar abilities. Class 2 is species that have some but not all Vexari physical traits. Class 3. He stopped. What about Class 3? Jisoo asked. That's us. Humans. It says we're limited vocal range species, and there's a list of technologies we're not allowed to have because of it. Jisoo's face showed her anger. They've been holding back on us because we can't make certain sounds. That's unfair, Ta-1 finished, but also maybe not entirely wrong from their view. If their tech needs specific sounds to work, and we can't make those sounds. But our cats can, Jisoo said, looking at Miso. That changes everything. They kept reading. The more they learned, the more they understood why the Vexari had been so surprised by Miso. According to their rules, no Class 3 species should have animals that could use Class 1 technology. Suddenly, the crystal flashed red. A new file appeared, showing a video call. Hanbin's face filled the air in front of them. I see Miso open the translator, he said. I hope she would. Hanbin. Ta-1 said. These files. Is this why the Vexari never shared certain technologies with us? Hanbin nodded. Yes, it's a system that's been in place for thousands of years. Most Vexari don't even question it anymore. But you do? Jisoo asked. Some of us do, Hanbin admitted. There's a movement among younger Vexari. We think the protocol is wrong. Species should be judged by their minds, not their bodies. Does Durin know you're sharing this with us? Ta-1 asked. Hanbin's expression became serious. No, and he cannot find out. There are consequences for breaking the protocol. Then why risk it? Jisoo asked. Because your cat has shown us that our entire system might be built on false ideas, Hanbin replied. If Earth cats can speak our language, what else might we be wrong about? Ta-1 looked at Miso, who was now batting at Hanbin's floating image with her paw. What should we do with this information? He asked. Use it carefully, Hanbin warned. Some Vexari would rather destroy evidence than admit the protocol is flawed. Is Miso in danger? Jisoo asked suddenly. Hanbin was quiet for a moment. Perhaps, but not from Durin. He's curious rather than threatened. Others, though. The call ended abruptly. The crystal darkened and closed back into an egg shape. Ta-1 picked up Miso and held her close. We need to be careful. This is bigger than we thought. Jisoo nodded. We just wanted to show that humans aren't as limited as the Vexari thought. Now we're in the middle of changing their entire society. Outside, the lights of Seoul glowed as night fell. Somewhere above, Vexari ships moved in Earth's orbit, and in one small apartment, a cat had become the key to unlocking a system that had kept humans in their place for 50 years. 1 week after finding the secret files, Taiwan received an official message from High Chancellor Do-rin. It was printed on special paper that seemed to glow softly. The High Chancellor requests your presence, along with Ji-soo Park and the cat called Miso, for a private meeting tomorrow at noon. Taiwan read to Ji-soo over the phone. This could be trouble, Ji-soo said. Do you think he knows about Hanbin's translator? I don't know, but we can't say no to the High Chancellor. The next day, they arrived at the Seoul Interstellar Embassy. Instead of going to the main building, they were led to a small garden house behind it. Inside, they found Do-rin sitting alone at a round table. The room was simple but beautiful, with plants from many worlds growing along the walls. Thank you for coming, Do-rin said, standing to greet them. This meeting is not in any official record. Taiwan and Ji-soo sat down nervously. Miso jumped onto the table and looked at Do-rin with interest. Your cat has caused quite a stir among my people, Do-rin said. Some are excited. Others are worried. Worried about what? Taiwan asked. Do-rin touched a spot on the table, and a small part of it opened. He took out a strange object, a cube made of what looked like dark blue metal, covered with symbols that glowed when touched. This is a royal puzzle box, Do-rin explained. It is very old, from the early days of our civilization. Each Vexari child of noble birth must solve it to be accepted into higher education. Ji-soo leaned forward. How does it work? It requires a series of precise sounds in the royal language. The right sounds, in the right order, with the right tones. Do-rin looked at Miso. No non-Vexari has ever opened one. Taiwan understood. You want to see if Miso can open it. Yes, Do-rin admitted. If she can, it would prove something important. What would it prove? Ji-soo asked. Do-rin was quiet for a moment. It would prove that our royal language is not just for communication. It is a tool, a key, a way to control our world. He pushed the box toward Miso. Our language is the operating system for our most advanced technology. We speak to our machines, and they obey. Miso sniffed the box cautiously. Do-rin made a series of complex sounds that rose and fell like music. The box glowed brighter, but didn't open. That is the beginning of the sequence, Do-rin explained. There are 12 more parts. It took me 3 days to learn them all as a child. Miso sat up straight. She looked at the box, then at Do-rin. Then she began to make sounds. Perfect copies of what Do-rin had just done, but with small changes. Her sounds were clearer, more precise. The box began to change color, from blue to purple to red. Parts of it moved, turning and sliding in impossible ways. Miso kept making sounds, one series after another, as if she knew exactly what to do. Taiwan and Ji-soo watched in amazement. Do-rin's 4 arms were completely still, a sign of deep surprise among the Vexari. With one final sound from Miso, the box opened like a flower. Inside was a small crystal that showed what looked like a star map. Impossible, Do-rin whispered. She didn't just open it. She did it perfectly, with no mistakes. Even I make small errors. What is that map? Ji-soo asked, pointing to the crystal. Coordinates, Do-rin said, to a place very important to my people, a research outpost in your Alpha Centauri system. He looked at Miso with new respect. This changes everything. The royal language is not just about physical ability. It's about something more. What happens now? Taiwan asked. Do-rin closed the box carefully. Now, I must make a difficult decision. Your cat has proven that our entire classification system may be wrong. If a simple Earth animal can master our royal technology, He didn't finish the sentence. Will you tell the other Vexari? Jisoo asked. Some already know. Some must never find out. Du-Rin stood up. I believe you should visit these coordinates. Take Han Bin with you. He has been asking many questions about your cat. As they left the garden house, Ta-Won felt both excited and scared. They had just been given permission to visit a secret Vexari place, something no human had ever done before. All because of one orange cat who could speak the language of kings. The research station's main room was dark until Miso made a special sound. Then lights came on everywhere, and a voice spoke from the air. Welcome, voice bearer. Access granted to all station systems. The voice spoke in perfect Vexari, but Ta-Won could understand it somehow. He looked at Jisoo and Han Bin and saw they understood too. What's happening? Jisoo asked. I can understand the Vexari language now. Han Bin touched a wall panel. The station is translating for us. It recognized Miso's voice pattern and is helping us communicate. A large screen appeared in the center of the room. On it was the image of a strange creature. It looked a bit like the Vexari, but also different. Taller, with 6 arms instead of 4, and skin that was pure white. Greetings, the creature said. I am Keeper of Records. This message activates when a true voice bearer enters this facility. What's a voice bearer? Ta-Won asked. The image changed to show many planets. Long ago, the race you call precursors visited many worlds. We found promising species and helped them develop. On your world, we found 2 interesting species, humans and small furry creatures you now call cats. Miso sat in front of the screen, watching closely. Humans had great minds but simple voices. Cats had simple minds but complex voices. We saw potential in combining your strengths. The screen showed images of ancient Earth, strange ships hovering over deserts and forests, white beings working with early cats. We modified your cats, giving them special vocal abilities and increased intelligence. They were designed to be universal translators, beings who could speak any language in the galaxy. They would help humans communicate with all other species. Ta-Won looked at Miso with new understanding. That's why she can speak the Vexari language. She was made to do it. But something happened, the Keeper continued. Our civilization faced a great crisis. We had to leave your world before our work was complete. The cats retained their special vocal abilities, but not the full intelligence we planned to give them. Han Bin stepped forward. The precursors visited Vexari worlds too. Our legends speak of white beings who taught us language and science. Correct, the Keeper said. The Vexari were given knowledge of sound-based technology. You were meant to share this with other species through the universal translators. Jisoo gasped. The cats were supposed to be the bridge between humans and Vexari technology. But without the precursors finishing their work, cats stayed as simple animals, Ta-Won said. Until Miso learned from my recordings. The screen changed again, showing complex data about cat biology. The potential remains in all Earth cats. With the right training, any cat could do what this one does. Han Bin turned to Ta-Won and Jisoo. This changes everything. The physiological determinism protocol was based on a complete misunderstanding. Vexari were never meant to keep technology from other species. We were meant to share it through the universal translators. Did the Vexari know this all along? Jisoo asked. Han Bin's face showed shame. Some did. The oldest records mentioned cats from Earth, but most Vexari thought they were just stories. Some high officials must have known the truth. Like Du-Rin? Ta-Won asked. Perhaps, or his superiors, Han Bin said. They kept this secret for centuries. Suddenly, alarms sounded throughout the station. Red lights flashed on all screens. Warning, the station's voice said. Unknown vessel approaching. Hostile intent detected. Han Bin rushed to a control panel. It's a Vexari ship, but not Du-Rin's. It's firing weapons. The station shook as something hit it. Miso jumped into Tadawan's arms, making scared sounds. "We need to get this information back to Earth," Jisoo said. "And to the Vexari public." "There's more," the station's voice said. Emergency protocols activated. A small crystal rose from the center console, similar to the one in the puzzle box, but larger. This contains all station data, including the complete genetic profile of the universal translators. "Take it." Taiwan grabbed the crystal as another blast hit the station. "We need to get to our ship," Hanbin said. "Quickly." As they ran through the halls of the ancient station, Taiwan held Miso close. She wasn't just a pet anymore. She was living proof that humans and Vexari were meant to work together, not be separated by artificial rules. If they could escape, everything would change. Taiwan, Jisoo, Hanbin, and Miso raced toward their ship as the station shook around them. Pieces of ceiling fell as they ran. "Who's attacking us?" Jisoo shouted as they reached the docking bay. "Traditionalists," Hanbin said. "Vexari who don't want things to change." They climbed into their small ship and started the engines. Through the window, they could see a large Vexari warship firing at the station. "We'll never outrun that ship," Tadwan said as they pulled away from the station. Hanbin worked quickly at the controls. "I'm sending a distress call to Durin. But it will take time for help to arrive." The enemy ship turned toward them. Soon, it would be in firing range. Jisoo looked at Miso, who sat calmly in Tadwan's lap. "Miso can speak the royal language. Maybe she can talk to their ship." "That might work," Hanbin said. "Vexari ships respond to voice commands in the royal language, but we need to get closer for them to hear us." Taiwan held Miso up to the ship's communication system. "Miso, we need your help. Can you speak to that ship?" Miso looked at the approaching warship. Then she made a series of complicated sounds into the microphone. The sounds were like nothing Taiwan had ever heard before, higher and more complex than even the royal language. On the enemy ship, lights began to flicker. It stopped moving toward them. "What did she say?" Jisoo asked in amazement. "That wasn't the royal language," Hanbin said, his eyes wide. "That was something older. Something from the precursor language that our royal language came from." On their screen, they could see the enemy ship's weapons powering down. Its engines went dark. "She shut down their systems," Taiwan said. "How did she know how to do that?" Before anyone could answer, a new ship appeared. It was Du-Rin's vessel, larger and more powerful than the enemy ship. "Perfect timing," Hanbin said with relief. Du-Rin's face appeared on their screen. "I received your distress call. Are you all safe?" "Yes," Taiwan said. "Thanks to Miso. She disabled the enemy ship somehow." "Interesting," Du-Rin said. "Return to Earth immediately. Bring everything you found. It's time for change." 1 month later, Taiwan stood in the main hall of the Seoul Interstellar Embassy. The room was filled with beings from many worlds, not just Vexari and humans, but representatives from all species in the Alliance. Do-Rin stood at the front of the room. Next to him was a table where Miso sat, clinging her paws as if nothing special was happening. For too long, the Vexari have used the physiological determinism protocol to keep other species from advancing, Do-Rin announced. This was wrong. The precursors meant for all species to share knowledge and technology. He gestured to Miso. Earth's cats were designed to bridge the gaps between species. They were meant to help us all communicate and learn from each other. A murmur went through the crowd. Some Vexari looked unhappy, but many seemed relieved. "From this day forward, the protocol is ended," Do-Rin declared. "All technology will be shared equally with all species." The room erupted in cheers. Jisoo, standing beside Taiwan, wiped tears from her eyes. "What happened to the traditionalists?" Taiwan asked Hanbin, who stood on his other side. "Some have accepted the change," Hanbin said. "Others have left the Alliance, but most see that this is the right path." In the following weeks, training programs were set up across Earth. People brought their cats to learn how to speak the languages of other worlds. Special schools were created where cats could help humans learn to use Vexari technology. 3 months after their return from Alpha Centauri, Tadwan and Jisoo sat in the first meeting of the new Interstellar Alliance Council. Unlike before, representatives from all species sat as equals around a large round table. Miso lounged on the table in front of Tadwan, now wearing a small translator device around her neck that helped her communicate more easily. "The new Alliance Charter is ready for approval," said the council leader. "Would the Earth representative like to read it?" Taiwan nodded to Miso. She stood, stretched, and then spoke in perfect universal standard, her voice clear and confident. She read the entire charter, which promised equality and cooperation among all species. When she finished, she looked around the room with her yellow eyes. Then she yawned, curled up, and went to sleep, completely uninterested in the applause that filled the chamber. Taiwan smiled and stroked her fur. "Just an ordinary cat," he whispered, "who changed the galaxy."